This is the Steam Next Fest Q&A. I'm Ria. I am part of the Steam business team, and I work on making Steam a better place for partners and publishers, and also attempt to help make the customer shopping and browsing experience on Steam better as well.
I'm Adil. I'm on the engineering team, so I work on tech on the partner site and on the store. Particularly work on Next Fest and a lot of theme sales. So not only here to answer your questions, also to hear feedback and figure ways we can make Next Fest better for you guys, as well as other theme sales.
So we are going to go ahead and get started. Our first question is, can we update our trailer after the press demo or even during Steam Next Fest? The answer is yes. You can actually update your trailer, your store page, your build review. You can update, or not your build review, sorry, the build of your game. You can update that at any time. The only thing is it does not go through another review if it's your store page or if it's your build review. So make sure you've got all those typos handled and you're not crashing the game on accident with your update. But aside from that, feel free to update that at any time, including your trailer.
I think we should probably do a tiny bit more housekeeping because a question that was asked in the previous session, probably valuable for everybody.
Sure.
Please, public store page, definitely required. You need a coming soon page for your game. Then please, you must have a demo. You cannot participate in Steam Next Fest without a demo. So you can launch it right before the event. You can launch it before the event. You can launch it months before the event. That's totally fine. If you do launch it during the event, you may have to send us a ticket so that we can resync the festival and make sure your demo is included. But we definitely need a demo. And we highly encourage a trailer. There's some new tech we're working on which will feature trailers in interesting ways. It's not absolutely required, it's optional, but we'd highly recommend a trailer because without a trailer, that section won't show your game. So, last one, tags. Please tag your game. Use the tag wizard. It's on the base game. If you want, you can tag your demo separately if you have a separate demo page. But if you don't, it'll just use the tag from the base game. That helps us better categorize and carousel where your game would appear. In your registration, you're able to specify the top level categories, but within it, we carousel below it, and you can see that on the dev preview page. So store page is live, trailer, demo, tags. Did I miss anything? Don't release your game. Last one. Don't ship your game during next time. Ship after.
Right. Let's get back to questions then. Can we have a demo build available for press on October 3rd and then update it after to have a different one for players on October 14th? As mentioned in the last question I answered, that's totally okay. Feel free to update your build, your store page, your trailer at any time. Just make sure you do the work to make sure it doesn't break anything.
Next question. When it comes to sending out the email after releasing demo, is it that we can only send the email after 2 weeks or within 2 weeks of the demo release? Within 2 weeks of the demo release, there's an important caveat. When we fire the wishlist announcement for your demo, there is a 2-week cooldown for any other wishlist notifications. So if you release your base game soon after the demo, it won't notify anybody who is notified about the demo. So that's something to consider. But you can fire that wishlist any point up to 2 weeks after the release of the demo. The reason we have this sort of flexible window, especially for Next Fest, you may want to launch your demo for the press preview, but you may want to hold off announcing that your demo is launched to your fans until Next Fest starts. So that gives you that little bit of flexibility.
As always, though, it's totally up to you. So you can always disregard our advice as long as it's advice and not guidelines. Question from Robert. How do we handle difficult forum posts? Ooh, I think this is maybe not necessarily related to Steam Next Fest, but we can talk about it anyways. If you've got someone in forums that is being difficult or annoying, feel free to write in and talk to us about it. Some elements of annoying are allowed and some of them are not. So we'd have to know what's going on in your specific case, but don't feel like you can't reach out. We've got a bunch of people who look at forum posts and how people are acting on that space, and we can give you advice, if not help you out more directly.
So a question from Sarah. We can use pre-record, or can we use pre-recorded streams for the live section? What's going to stop people from constantly looping? Should we all be doing it? It might have been seen more difficult if everyone is live. That's true. You can have a looping broadcast in live stream. Not ideal, but it's a pattern we've seen on Steam. We have long-term thoughts on how to make it better. It just hasn't prioritized to work. So you certainly can do it. Would we encourage it? Not necessarily great for customers, but we can see it's something that a lot of folks are doing. So some folks feel like they're missing out if they're not doing it. It's really all I can describe, unless Ria has anything else there.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the thing is, well-produced short segment looping is probably going to be more interesting than a live stream, and so I can see why a lot of people might want to go the pre-recorded route. As mentioned, that's fine by us for now. You will know if we make any changes on that front, but there's nothing stopping you or anyone else from just constantly looping. My 2 cents is, if you're going to do a looping video, be sure it's succinct, be sure it's snappy, be sure there's a lot of gameplay in there. If you have 10 minutes of empty space where you're just talking about the game, that's not necessarily going to be helpful for customers trying to understand more about what your game is and how it plays. So I would just keep that in mind.
There was an interesting question from the previous session where they asked about trailer and trailer length. And I think our advice was gameplay, gameplay, gameplay. Get to the gameplay as soon as possible. Customers like myself are evaluating the gameplay to see if it is a game that they're interested in. You certainly have cinematic trailer. You can mark it as such. We'd always recommend you choose your gameplay trailer that shows the majority of the game as your first trailer. We use the first trailer to build something called a microtrailer, which is when you're hovering a game capsule on the store, we show a short clip that's multiple segments of the trailer, and the gameplay tends to be most interesting to customers. Do you want to take Sarah's question?
Sure. A question from Sarah. If you have your own separate demo page, can people wishlist the demo, and will that potentially stop people from wishlisting the full game since the focus is on the demo? I think
maybe I can take this. So if you create a demo store page, you're totally welcome to. A wish list on the demo store page, it's actually wishlisting the base game. The demo itself doesn't actually have wishlist tracking, so it's always pointing back to the base game. Reason why you might have a demo store page is that the content of your demo is uniquely different from your base game. Maybe you've cut out the multiplayer aspect, or maybe you added specific multi and you don't have single. Or you want to describe it's only the first level of a multi-level game. The store page is very helpful in describing what the demo will contain. However, it does not get wishlist. Any wishlist sort of made on the demo store page actually goes to your base game, and I think that's where you actually want them.
I guess the answer is we fixed that for you. Don't worry about it. Another question, when will the asset kit become available? Very soon. I think we've actually got that uploaded to the documentation page already, but we'll be sending out a housekeeping reminder email in the next week or so that will have the link to the asset kit as well.
I think the next question is the same.
Oh, did it not go away? Well, I can keep going. Sarah's got a question. Do the press have access from the 4th onwards or only for a few days? And the answer is they will have access from the 4th onwards. So if you've got updates or you make changes, it's totally fine to do that, especially if you're fixing a bug. Do remember that not all press are going to be snappy and they're not necessarily all going to get to it on the 4th. So it's good to make sure that even if you're a bit late with updates or presenting things on the store page properly, be sure to make sure you're doing that. Hopefully that answers your question.
One related point about the press preview, you're welcome to just have a store page. You're welcome to have a store page plus the demo. The press don't get any special access. They still need a live demo if you want them to play one. They don't have any release overrides or any capability to play an unreleased demo. So do consider that. You don't have to participate. You don't have to have a demo. It's all up to you. Ooh, so Robert had the question. We have a 5-minute time limit on demo. Is that too short? I don't know. Do you have an idea, Ria? I don't know. It might be the perfect amount of time.
It depends on your game, and it depends on how you're counting that 5-minute. If it's 5 minutes from when the player opens your executable, I think that is absolutely too short, because people might load the game and go get water and then come back and have wasted like 3 of your 5 minutes. So 5 feels a bit short. If it's 5 minutes in your game itself, I think it's mostly about what you're trying to accomplish. I think a lot of the most successful demos that we've seen at NextFest are either sort of very small gameplay loops where you can get a sense of the game, but you can't really progress very far. And those kind of have an unlimited time limit. Those have been very successful. And then we've seen a couple sort of shorter and more succinct demos where the gameplay experience from beginning to end is really only 5 to 10 minutes. But I think putting an artificial time limit on your demo is probably not the way to go. And I think you'll probably end up frustrating your customers more than giving them a taste of what the game is. So if you can limit your demo in other ways, either by ending it at a certain plot point or sort of stripping out the extra elements and having like a very small bite of it available, I think that's probably the better way to go.
I'll go to the next question. Since the live streams were removed, they weren't removed, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Does that mean that data shows that the lives do not, or I guess the live streams do not make much effect, similar or equal to pre-recorded videos, perhaps? Just as a point of clarification, we didn't remove the streams. We're deprioritizing. We're putting them somewhere else on the page. They used to be the first thing you saw in NextFest, the live stream followed by a schedule. We, from feedback, felt that a lot of people were struggling with like scheduling on time and when issues occurred. And second, a lot of folks had experience streaming or had a lot of stress trying to set up a stream, but it was not a great necessarily experience for people participating in Fest. We don't necessarily have good data showing that it helps significantly. We struggled trying to collect that. We saw when something was on the schedule, it would get a little boost wish list, but that's just because of discovery. So we weren't sure it would the effect that we wanted. It may come back. It may come back in a different way in the future. We are always evolving NextFest. We're always learning from it. Maybe there's additional tech we need to make live streams actually live. Whether it should be pre-recorded or not, I think we already answered. Depends. Depends on what content you want to show. And always, if you do a live stream, try to get to gameplay so people can see what's actually in the game. You have anything to add, Ria, on that?
Also test your live stream.
Oh, right.
This was a big problem back when live streams were more front and center. And part of the reason why we've moved it off the homepage is it's hard to get right. So if you do plan on doing a live stream, whether that's a pre-recorded loop or what have you, be sure you can stream to your store page at all. So good luck.
Can I take the next question?
Yeah.
So I know the first 2 days are random and are not based on which to download or click through. Is there a weight given to playtime or download in the future? Good question. And there's been a lot of discussion internally here in the engineering team about how to prioritize games. We are, in this next test, using a couple days, 2 or 3, to learn how customers interact with the games on NextFest. A lot of the carousels, the section, the new section that'll be focused on trailers and have people quickly get through a lot of content and sort of sit back experience. They'll be trying to distribute games equally. So we're hoping that everybody gets an equal chance in front of customers. Then we will observe what customers do, click through if there's demos with reviews, sorry, not reviews, playing demos, and there are other playtime in the games to build an ML. Well, we have an ML system that will use this data to make recommendations to players like you. So players like you wish list these games or play these demos. That's the feature we're trying to roll out. So we are giving weight to what people do on NextFest to help future people make or show the games that they will enjoy more. Ria, do you want to add anything to that?
I guess a little bit about how ML works is we can't tell you what ML is going to be looking at, because the way it works is it basically, I'm not an engineer, so this is probably a terrible description, but it basically just takes in a bunch of input, all of the input that is available to it, and it starts making connections. And we don't get to tell it that we think that playtime for downloads is a smart thing to go off of. It's going to just look at a whole bunch of stuff and it's going to think on its own and come up with an answer for us. So sitting from here, what I think that playtime for downloads is something it might look at, I would certainly think that is the case. But one thing that I hope it picks up, and one thing we've always said, is that the amount of playtime that you get in your demo is going to be entirely based on what your demo is. So there are going to be some demos that have no time limit, that have a never-ending loop, that have multiplayer, and those demos can be played for potentially forever. Whereas there are other games that have a very tight loop, and then, you know, you play it, you've got your 10 minutes, you're done. We'll see what it comes up with, but my thought is I would not focus so much on that, and I would focus more on sort of the quality of your demo instead, as I think user reviews and comments are going to be much more useful to you as the game developer on how to proceed rather than whatever the ML system is looking at.
There's one tiny thing that we talked about last time, the philosophy of why we're doing this. So we want to put games that customers want in front of them, and we want to direct your customers to your games. So the learning is to help get to that as soon as possible. So we're uncertain on the number of days we'll need for training. We think it's 3, but it might be shorter, and we may start cranking it early. So this next fest is going to be very interesting. A lot of new text coming into it. Very exciting for us on the engineering side.
That's an understatement. A question from Charmaine: are there certain qualifications for getting featured on the front page? Assuming this is about the front page of the NextFest page itself, most of it is going to be completely random in the beginning. So as Adil mentioned, we're going to start off, everything's going to be random. The order in which games are appearing are going to be entirely random. Asterisk. I'll get back to the asterisk. So there's really nothing to do in terms of getting featured, so to speak, because we're going to try and spread traffic around equally between all of the games. After that point, we're going to hopefully have some extra learnings from how people in the front half of the fest were shopping and browsing and adding games to their wish list. And by that time, hopefully, we're showing you games that you're more likely to enjoy. So the example that I always give is I don't play a single shooting game. I never have. Well, that's a lie. I played Helldivers, but I am not really interested in that kind of thing. So if I go into NextFest and I'm looking at a truly random set of games, I'm probably going to see a number of shooting titles in there. I'm not interested in those. Our goal is by the end of NextFest, all NextFest is showing me are things like farming sims and casual puzzle games and point and click adventures and those kinds of things. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how we're looking at it. So there's nothing you need to do specifically to be featured on the homepage. It will be either all random or going to be based on how people are interacting with your demo.
The key is we want to be personalized to get to the point that it's personalized for every user. So my NextFest homepage will be different than Ria's. And I think that's fine. That's probably better because I do like first-person shooters. And I'm not too excited about farming games. So each person is different, and Team has a ton of people who visit NextFest. And we suspect if we can personalize it to each individual, it'll be a better experience for them, and they'll likely connect games they're interested in. Question from Robert. Do we have to do anything special for the press to get the demo? You have to ship it. The people who visit the press preview page don't have any special privilege or access on Steam. So for them to be able to play your demo, you have to make it publicly available. And then they'll be able to download like any other Steam customer. So you have to ship the demo if you want them to have access to it.
It is not required to be part of the press preview. Press are fully aware that not all games are going to ship their demo at that time. So it's totally up to you on what you want to do. But do keep in mind that press will likely be coming in and looking at that early. So if you want them to get a sneak preview, I suppose it's not really a sneak preview because it'll be live for everyone. But if you want press to have access to your demo, you are going to have to set that live for everyone. We've got a question. As for the public demo being different for press versus the public, it wouldn't matter if the difference is like a tutorial kind of gameplay versus a full gameplay experience. Okay. So this is kind of asking about should the build that we have for press be different from the build that we have during Next Fest? I would actually advise against it, if only because that's probably a lot of extra time on your front. And if you're trying to teach press how to play your game with a tutorial style demo, you probably want to show customers that too. If you're going to put the effort in to make a good teaching experience, that's probably relevant for your average customer as well. So hard to really give you a good answer to this without knowing what your game is. But my 2 cents is you probably don't want to spend all the time making 2 different demos, especially since, again, press don't get any special access. So if you put out a tutorial style demo for the press preview, regular customers are still going to be able to see the build at that time. And that's what they will be playing if they come in at that moment. So kind of up to you, but I would say save your effort for something else.
Pedro asked, what are some of the best metrics to look out for during Next Fest? I don't know, Ria, do you have thoughts here?
The things that we look at is how much traffic is part of it. That should be fairly spread out across all of the participants. But what you want to look at is wish list additions. If you get a ton of traffic, but your wish lists don't really take up very much, that's a lesson to learn that says, hey, something about my store page isn't compelling to customers. So that's super valuable to know. And that's why you need to keep an eye on your wish list. 2 is customer feedback. Presumably people are going to be, downloading and playing your demo. You should take a look and see what they're saying about the demo, whether that's in forums or on Reddit or in your game's Discord, wherever and whatever it may be. Make sure you keep an eye on their opinion of your game. And then 3 is you probably want to check demo playtime. So if you go into your into your stats for your demo, we do have a section that will tell you how long on average users are playing your demo. That can be really useful information. If you've got a long narrative piece, but people are dropping off at the 5-minute mark, something's gone wrong there. Either the gameplay is not compelling enough, maybe everyone's running into a bug that's crashing the game, etc. So it can be useful to keep an eye on your metrics there because they can be an indication of something going wrong or of gameplay not being compelling enough. I think those are the 3 that I would prioritize the most.
One quick suggestion. If in your game menu system is possible to add where you'd love to collect feedback, that'd be ideal because that's what they'll likely see quick. If it's Discord or Steam community forums or some other site, totally fine. Making an easy link from your menu would be fantastic. Just make it easy on your customers to leave feedback where you're going to read it and learn from it. I'm going to jump one question ahead to Sarah's. Will the live streams be random in order? Are they shown, or is it order based on the amount of people watching? So in the summer's Next Fest, the schedule dictated which streams got visibility. Since in this Next Fest we don't have a schedule, when someone goes to the tab with the live stream, it will randomly pick one of the streams to show them. We may tune it based on the tags that a customer enjoys and choose from that set of games, but even then it'd be random within that set. Since there's no schedule, there's no priority to any game. So if anything, we're just trying to find the stream that might be most interesting. Viewership won't apply. So it's not the algorithm is not ranked on viewership in this event.
All right. We've actually only got one more question left in the Q&A box. Another one came in. Thank you. Please continue to submit questions. Otherwise, we will sit here and stare at you because we're not going to end the session early, probably, unless you guys are all really done with that. So moving on to the question, who's included under the press? Oh, that's a good question. We can't tell you who our press list is, but I can share that it's mostly people who work on publications and other things that do PC game related things. So we're not sending this press preview page to people who focus specifically on console, for instance. That wouldn't make sense. But all of your major publications, you can assume that someone over there is getting access early. Hopefully that answers your question. If you've got a more specific question, we can definitely see if we can answer that or not. But that's generally who we're sending the press preview to.
Next question. Is there a reason casual isn't an option for genre when registering for NextFest? It's an option for my store page, but since it's not an option for my store page, I chose simulation for NextFest. That's a fair point of feedback. Perhaps we can add casual as a carousel under simulation. The tricky bit is when there's so many genres, it becomes overwhelming. I can tell you to head back to a designer engineer on the team to see whether we should add casual, might be too late, or whether we can make casual a bigger carousel. Good point. Thank you for that feedback.
I do think the reason why we've chosen to not include casual in the past is it's actually not particularly descriptive of a tag. I kind of equate it to indie, which is like, I guess I get a vague sense of what it is meant to tell me, but casual alone doesn't really tell me too much about what the gameplay of the thing is. I think most things that are casual games do fit under simulation. There are some that are not a great fit, but rather than putting casual up there as a carousel or as its own genre, I'd rather dig into what games don't fall under simulation that would fall under casual, because I think that would be the place for us to focus on with a specific carousel or something. So if you want to, this is probably not the format for it, but if you want to send us a ticket and tell us about your game, I think that would be quite useful for us in figuring out how we want to make any changes to how we handle the organization in future NextFest. I'll drop the link to our support tool in chat. Please reach out. I'm really curious to know more about your game.
There, after the end of this NextFest, there will be if you go to the partner site, your dashboard will eventually show a recap showing you how your games that participated in NextFest did, as well as there'll be an opportunity for a survey. So we read everything entered in the survey. It helped us make some decisions that affected this NextFest. We're hoping to learn from this event to keep making it better. We really appreciate any input and feedback, positive or negative, that you give us. We have very thick skins. So please do fill in the survey. We are reading all of them. Okay, next question. What tags do you focus on? Is it the top 5? Is it all? Is it some set of tags? I am 80% certain we're looking at your top 10 tags. I think we have the ability to see up to 20. Maybe Ria knows otherwise because she has a...
I think it drops off after 15.
15
so most things on the store will look at your top 10 tags. There are some locations that will go up to 15. But the way we think about it is your tags should be sorted in order of usefulness. So, for example, if your game is a platforming, isometric, beautiful game, you actually probably want to put your tags in that order. You want to put platformer first, because that's about the gameplay loop. And then if the isometric style is super important, although I don't know how you do an isometric platformer, that was probably a bad example, then you want to put that second. And then if you want to put a a subjective tag like beautiful, you can put that after. But most people are going to be searching based off of, factual gameplay tags versus more like mood-based ones. So it would be our recommendation to make sure that your tags are sorted in order of what people might be shopping for.
Got an easy one. When did the press get access? It's October 3rd, 10 a.m. It's in our docs. But
Pacific time.
Pacific time, yes, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
We're like one of the last time zones in the world, so it'll be probably a bit earlier for the rest of you. Can we add difficult as a genre too? All right, here's my soapbox. The reason why we don't have things like difficult as a genre, or we haven't done a difficult fest either, the reason why we don't use it is because it is really arbitrary. And we don't like to be the arbiter of taste or opinion on basically anything on Steam here. And so if we did have a difficult carousel, we do think that people would self-tag themselves as such, and it wouldn't necessarily be useful to customers as a descriptor of the game. So things like Souls-like is kind of an approximation for difficult. And if it's a different kind of difficult, you can kind of see that in tags, whether it's from an automation tag or competitive is or PvP is another one that we see quite a lot. So I'm going to say here we're not going to add difficult as a genre, but hopefully you can kind of understand where we're coming from that and let us know if you have any feedback.
Does the press preview include content creators or are there more traditional journalists and media outlets? I don't know the answer to this. Do you know, Ria?
I think it's more traditional journalists and media outlets, but I don't control our press list, so I'm not 100%
Casey question.
sure. It is a Casey question. Shame she's not here. But in general, we focus on what we consider trustworthy news sources and news outlets. Not to say content creators are not included in that, but I would say there's probably far less of them compared to more traditional journalists and media outlets. Next question. Will Fest be getting longer to accommodate the growth of the amount of games being shown? Were you here this morning? Anyways, we did just get asked this morning as well, which is a great question. We haven't really figured out what we're going to do now that these next fests are getting larger. The upcoming one in October is looking like we've got 3,000 plus games registered. A large number of those are likely to fall off before the fest starts. But even still, it's quite a bit larger than any of the next fests that we've had so far. So we haven't really decided what we want to do about that yet. We're thrilled at the growth of the event, but of course that makes discoverability and giving everyone a fair share of the pie is a lot harder as well. So we're definitely thinking about it, but we don't have an answer yet.
Is there a place to find the full VOD from the morning session? Yes, I just don't think Matt's uploaded it.
It will be up on YouTube eventually. The kind gentleman that has to watch all of these for us, he puts them on YouTube, and they also have chapter markers, so you can skip between all of the questions. It normally takes a week-ish plus, so I wouldn't hold your breath for it for this week, but if you keep track of our Steamworks Dev YouTube channel, it will be there in the near future.
What are the criteria for a game to appear on trailertv? That's sort of the name of the feature. Not sure it's going to be the final name. Ria votes for this one.
It's a good name.
It's a pretty decent name. The criteria is a trailer. The code's going to skip any game that lacking a trailer. The way it works is it'll first show your microtrailer, so your customer gets a quick taste, and if they engage with it, it'll continue to start playing the regular trailer. So as the user, I can pause, I should say, by default, trailertv will keep moving from one game to the next in a short period of time, so people can sort of sit back and get a big sense of all the wonderful games on XS. However, they can always engage with the tool, stop the autoplay, and and watch your full trailer, or jump to your store page or wish list, or do all the good actions right from there. They can always then go back and resume. But the key thing is we need a trailer. And I think the trailer needs to be at least 12 seconds because we need to be able to generate a microtrailer from it. But I'm not 100% sure what that min length is. Hopefully that answers your question.
12 seconds is pretty short. So hopefully your trailer is longer than that.
And again, your trailer, please get to gameplay. Please, please, please. People love seeing what your game's actually about.
Katie's got a correction for us. The partner dashboard shows the press preview starting on the 4th instead of the 3rd. I do believe that is correct, actually.
Our docs are wrong.
Are they? Which doc is wrong?
I found the Steamwork docs had October 3rd. I'm happy to go fix that.
We will go fix that. Yeah, it does say 3rd.
Thank you, Katie.
All right, we'll fix that. Pedro asked the question we just answered. So trailer TV, have a trailer. 12 seconds long at minimum. Let's move on to the next one. On the Next Fest dev preview page, by genre is alphabetically sorted, which seems like a clear advantage for action games and others near the top of the alphabet. Wouldn't it be more fair to have that tab be randomized in display order? Yes. Do we have the technology to do that? I think not for
really good question.
I think the thing, though, just addressing the spirit of the question, is I don't think anyone is scrolling through all of Next Fest. I think that's quite exhausting. I do think we expect people to land on that page and then go immediately to the type of game that they're interested in. So there may be a slight advantage for this upcoming Next Fest to be an action game, because your art will show before someone gets to scroll down to the section that they're actually interested in. But I don't think anyone's systematically just going through and looking at every carousel. So I think the hope is that it's not too much of a difference, although it is great feedback. But then I think it'll be confusing to people who are trying to find the right genre, because then it's not alphabetically sorted.
So it's really good feedback, and we've actually been having discussions about this. We kept talking about how we want the homepage to be personalized. We're thinking about making the genre section also personalized. Like, we don't want to break the alphabetical ordering because it's confusing, but we can actually rearrange sections below it. So while action might be the first link you can click, it may be further down the page depending on what tag the customer sees. So we're looking to change the order to be more suitable to the person viewing it. Which the end result will be that action won't necessarily get higher treatment. The tricky bit is being able to get all that for Next Fest. So Next Fest is this really exciting event, and we have a lot of things we want to get to make the event better for customers and partners. But thank you for the feedback. It's definitely on our list.
Sarah's got a question. Is the micro trailer additional to the full trailer, or is it just the first few seconds? It's actually a little more advanced than just the first few seconds. I don't really understand the magic behind it, but it will take sort of snippets from your trailer and cobble it together automatically. So you don't need to put any effort into uploading anything. It should generate automatically off of that first trailer. Well, all your trailers, but only one shows. So it'll automatically generate off of your trailer.
Yeah. How many trailers will be on Trailer TV? Every last one. Aaron, who's beside me, is laughing because we're trying to make all this work. We want that experience to be like, you could actually sit back and watch every game on Next Fest and have it loop and then loop and loop. We may actually put it on the giant screens in our office so people can see all the cool games on Next Fest. The thing to note is, based on customer preferences, people have the ability to set what content they prefer to see. Like, they may not like adult content, may not like mature content, may not like violence. So we will, at the minimum, observe their content requirement. But if someone enabled everything, they'd see every game on Next with the trailer. So all of them.
Next question. Is there a metric system out there that is Steam friendly that could complement metrics provided by Steam? I think this is kind of asking if there are like data systems or brokers that we work with that we would recommend. The answer is no. I would say if there are any people out there telling you that they can give you more access to your data than we can, they're probably guessing. They might be very, educated guesses, but what we provide to you is all that we provide to anyone. So we don't have any suggestions or recommendations out there. Be safe, be smart. Don't pay someone money because they promise you rainbows. That is my soapbox. Thank you for the question.
Question from Robert should the first trailer be gameplay or cinematic? This is obviously your choice, but we would always recommend gameplay. We prefer, if you browse the Steam store, you may find that gameplay gives you a deeper understanding of what the game is and helps you make a decision whether it's for you or not for you. And we think that's generally useful for all Steam customers. Cinematics might be exciting, may get people hyped up, but they're not necessarily what the customer will enjoy for the most part. They're playing your game. So we strongly recommend gameplay.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things that can happen is if someone gets really sucked into your trailer and they're like, this is beautiful and amazing. And then they go to your store page and they're like, oh, this is a open world survival crafting game. I didn't realize from the trailer. And that's just something that isn't interesting to them at all. And they might just bounce straight off of it. So gameplay is super important. Helps people make the decision to click on your store page way quicker if they can understand what the gameplay is going to be.
I've already submitted my game for press review and got approved. Do I need to do something else on the 30th? If you've chosen inclusion in the press review, you're pretty much set. If you have a store page, that will let the press see it. If you have a demo that's available to the public, it'll let the press play it. There's nothing else beyond that you need to do.
And then Michael's got a question. Are we able to manually upload a microtrailer? The answer right now is no. Adil is smiling because that is something that we have talked about and we have not done yet. Question mark?
It's a good question. This is a feature other people asked. We don't have plans to allow it yet. We've made a little bit of attempt to make it a thing, but it's not on our immediate timeline. We are working on improving how we cut your trailer into microtrailers. We're hoping they'll be available by next fest, but we don't have any immediate plans for letting you upload a microtrailer. But thank you for providing the feedback.
Got a question from Charmaine again. Just to clarify, there's nothing you need to do to submit for the press preview. It is automatic now. You can't opt in or out of it. Your game will be on the press preview page as long as you are still registered for Next Fest. What you can do, though, is you can provide your email address on the back end during your registration, in your registration form, if you'd like us to send that to press. So basically what we do is we send press the preview page, and then we send them this huge Excel document that's got all of the information that you guys have opted in with, your contact information and your name. That way, if someone's interested in your game, they want to reach out and do a little interview or ask you questions about the game, they have your contact information. So that is the most you can do in regards to submission for the press preview. Yeah, no extra action needed. Just make sure you have spelled your email correctly. I have seen that a non-zero number of times, so make sure you've got that correct.
Do you want to take this next one?
I can. Steam used to recommend screenshots without showing game UI, but I've seen a lot of advice to include UI in your screenshots and trailers to be more authentic about the actual game. Any thoughts? Currently, when you submit your store page for review, I do believe you do need to have some UI in your screenshots. You can't have just pretty screenshots. It does need to show gameplay, and I think UI might be part of that. Whether it's the right thing to do as a customer, I'll tell you I prefer to see UI, especially for games where that matters. So if you've got a very complex 4X game, if you've got a automation game, if you've got a game, a shooting title with multiple guns. Like, it's important for customers to understand what it will be like to play your game. If you've got one of those casual idle games, or maybe like a puzzle game, maybe the UI is a little less important. But in general, any information that you can give to the customer about what they can expect playing your game, that's ultimately the thing that's going to sell them on your game, right? You can show them the world's prettiest screenshot, but if they don't walk away from that experience with an understanding of what it's like to play your game, it's going to be a lot harder for them to decide to purchase the game once it's out. So I agree with that advice, I guess, that including UI makes it feel more authentic, but I'm sure you're going to get a wide variety of advice on the internet on that question. So I'll just add my voice to the pile.
So Petter asks, what is the best form to market game will be on Next Fest? It looks like Twitter X was banned in some countries. Wherever your customers are, that's really hard to answer other than that. Like, anywhere you can talk to your customers, potential customers, whatever social media you think the people who play the type of game that you're making are, I would definitely market there. I'm going to drop in the chat, so the Steamworks doc, we now have the asset kit available, so you're welcome to use that, I think, right now. You can use that to indicate you're going to be Next Fest. You can create an event in Steam to say you're going to be Next Fest. You're welcome to use that to indicate if you're going to be in a live broadcast and willing to chat, or whether you're on some other platform and willing to chat. Like, that's really interesting to some customers who are interested to talk to developers. But the answer is wherever you think your customers are. I don't really have a specific in mind. I just think about Steam.
Yeah. I feel like Twitter was, for a time, the place that everyone went for, what was it, Screenshot Saturday, and a bunch of other threads where, indie developers would get together and post about these kinds of things. There's a bunch of other, websites now. There's Mastodon, there's Blue Sky. I'm sure there are a couple that are specific to your region as well. But what we always say is you should be wherever your customers are. So one thing you can do is you can look at games that are similar to yours and figure out where the heck all those people are hanging out. If there's a lot of people who like to talk about that genre on Reddit, maybe that's where you want to spend your time. If there's a huge this is a terrible example. If there's a huge Tumblr community for a game that you consider a like game, maybe you want to be on Tumblr. So there's a ton of options out there for social media platforms and different forum websites. Do a little bit of groundwork and check out where other people are for your genre, for your game, and that might help you make the decision on where you want to spend your time as well.
I think we got through all the questions. That feels great.
Well, it's been a long time since we've been able to do that on one of these Q&As. We've got 8 minutes left here, so we'll just hang around in case anyone else has additional questions. But it's been great getting to answer your questions. Again, it's really helpful to hear directly from you guys who are participating in Next Fest in regards to, what you're looking for, where we might be lacking. Your feedback is the reason why we keep iterating on Next Fest and hopefully making it better for you guys. So thanks for coming and thanks for participating. If you've got questions that you think of in the shower in 3 hours, feel free again to send us a message to the ticketing system. Adil and I and the rest of the team actually do see those and respond to them. So we're happy to chat with you through that platform. Charmaine has a question. Do you know any good dad jokes? That is your domain, I feel. That's not mine.
I don't have anything right now.
All right, we'll have to come back to you on that one, unfortunately. All right, we've got a couple more questions. Just to clarify, you mentioned that you do not recommend to have looping videos unless it's specific gameplay. Then what Steam prefers is that someone is actually live. I think you'll get a different set of answers depending on who you ask here. I don't think we have a platform-wide policy on what we think is best, but I think there is a certain charm in a live stream being actually live, you can talk with the person and they will respond, and you can actually have a conversation about the gameplay or the lore or the art style. And you can't really do that if you're looping videos, but if you don't have the time, energy, or know-how or skills to run a live stream like that, a looping video is fine. But we do think that gameplay is going to be the most important thing. So because you have the ability to edit and make that a very curated experience, giving players gameplay is probably the best thing to do. A looping video that's 20 minutes of developer interview may not be as interesting, especially if the customer doesn't have the ability to actually interact with the interviewer or the interviewee.
You're also allowed to do a live stream, record it, and then upload it to Loop. That's totally fine as well. So you could have done it live and then now it's in a rebroadcast state. It'd be really nice if you could add some sort of logo that's indicating the rebroadcasting so that someone coming in knows that they're seeing something that's pre-recorded.
I think our only rules really regarding live streams is that it needs to be your game. So don't live stream your other game. Don't live stream someone else's game. Make sure you keep it on topic.
So Katie's actually got a dad joke. Why do ghosts hate the rain? Because it dampens their spirits. I like it.
It is raining here, so it's very.
It is Seattle. Appreciate that, Katie. And Charmaine also appreciates that. So we are now out of questions.
All right. We are out of questions. I guess we might as well hang around for another minute or two before closing up, just for any last second questions. But I feel like I did my outro already, so it seems weird to do it again. So I'm just going to sit here quietly.
You don't have a cat, do you, Ria?
I do. I have two. I don't know where they are.
To bring the cat. Always fun to see a cat.
Nah, they would not appreciate that. All right, actually, we might as well close it up. 4 minutes to go until the hour. Thanks again, everyone, for coming. This was our first attempt at a 5 p.m. Q&A, so I'm glad some of y'all showed up to keep us company. See you guys all in the October Next Fest, and if not, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye, all.